So there are three desolations of Jerusalem that are prophesied. The first one was the desolations under the Babylonians. Okay, and let's look at Daniel 9:2. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, perceived in the books the number of years that, according to the word of the Lord to Jeremiah the prophet, must pass before the end of the desolations of Jerusalem, namely 70 years. That was the first desolation, was under Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians. The second desolation was the one under the Romans in 70 AD. And finally, there is going to be a third desolation. And this one is actually described in Revelation chapter 11, verses 1 and 2. And remember, we're talking about the desolations of Jerusalem. Revelation 11, 1 and 2. Then I was given a measuring rod like a staff, and I was told, rise and measure the temple of God and the altar and those who worship there. But do not measure the court outside the temple. Leave that out, for it is given over to the nations, or the Gentiles, and they will trample the holy city for 42 months. And that little phrase, given over to the nations, this is sort of hints back to the passages in Luke and Mark, that the desolations will continue until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. And we know that during the end times, there's going to be 42 months before the end of that desolation. And Jesus stated that prior to his return to establish the kingdom, someone would stand in the holy place. Paul said this individual would take his seat in the temple of God, and this person would be the one who would instigate the final desolations of Jerusalem and the defilement of the temple just prior to Christ's glorious return. Jerusalem would be trampled by the Gentiles for 42 months, and after that, the times of the Gentiles will come to an end. There's the desolation of Jerusalem and the temple. And then there is the person who's associated with the man of sin, the person Jesus calls the abomination of desolation, who will stand in the holy place. And then finally, Paul says that he's going to actually sit there too. He's going to take his seat in the temple of God. So there's the desolations of Jerusalem, which have been prophesied to continue until the end.